Hello, everybody. Welcome to a very special program in this World Unity Week. My name is Ben Bowler, and it's an honor to be gathering with such luminaries for a very special purpose here. And I'm going to be introducing our speakers today, and then we're going to hear from Jonathan Granoff about the purpose of our gathering. It's something that is of great importance in this season as we celebrate truth, beauty, and goodness. And we're going to be exploring the poetry of Jonathan Granoff, which is amazing because if you know a little bit about Jonathan's background, operating at the highest levels of the United Nations and in diplomatic circles, to be sharing the poetry at this time of spiritual, luminous poetry is most auspicious. Jonathan is the president of the Global Security Institute, as a representative to the United Nations of the World Summits of Nobel Peace Laureates, senior advisor to the Committee on National Security of American Bar Association International Law Section, trustee and fellow of the World Academy of Art and Science. Now, Jonathan, that's a very short version of your bio, which is extensive, and we're going to need to add poet to the long list of things that you are as well. But tell us, welcome, brother, and tell us a little bit about our inspiration today before we introduce the other speakers.
My bio, I've realized, is I came from nothing and I'm working my way back. All of us are sustained by a immeasurable grace, power, mystery that gives preciousness to our lives. And that mystery doesn't come from the information of the world. And thus, our core being should not be attached to the vicissitudes of the chaos of the world or the extensive blessings and joys we have in the world, which are altogether fleeting. We're here to learn, and we're here to witness the luminosity of the soul and the power of the soul to be a bright light of the divine love that creates everything that we come from, that sustains us, and to which we will return. So all of these poems are there for many of you who are listening. They're sort of like reminders, like your mother says, wash your hands before you eat. So please don't be offended if these seem, they seem to be, well, yes, of course, this is a truism. It doesn't matter. They're not fancy. They're not artistically sophisticated. They're simple reminders that the core of our being is forever attached to the one that blesses every single life. And in this time of turmoil, in this time of great ignorance acting out, we have to be the examples of the sanctuaries of peace. We have to be in unity with the great blessing of life and with each other. That's what these poems are about. And it's my prayer that in the way I took great joy in sort of receiving the resonance that I tried to put into words, that you will take great joy in remembering the resonance of love in your heart.
Magnificent. And you've assembled an incredible group of friends to come and to recite this poetry. This is like a premiere. Let me tell you a little bit about our speakers today. Scarlett is a global systems architect and steward of harmonic intelligence, guiding planetary projects through ancient wisdom, emergent tech, and whole systems transformation. Entrepreneur musician Jon Ramer fuses collaborative tech with indigenous wisdom, co-founding Compassion Games, the Campaign for Compassionate Cities, Sign Network, and One World, authoring AI Doesn't Care, We Do, and earning the Center for Ethical Leadership's Bill Grace Legacy Award. And Grammy-winning, Emmy-nominated Lili Hayden is a composer, songwriter, singer, and violinist, well known for her 6 critically acclaimed major label recordings as a solo artist and her legendary collaborations with the likes of Herbie Hancock, Jimmy Page, and Robert Plant. George Clinton's P-Funk All-Stars, and Hans Zimmer. Lili also composes for film and television, with 18 feature films documentaries to her credit, and the hit Netflix series Ginny and Georgia, for which she earned an Emmy nomination in 2023. Lili releases a new album this summer titled Lullabies for the Brokenhearted that is inspired by the music she plays for people as they transition from this world. Lili is a lifelong activist and believes music and stories have the power to heal and uplift. Important now more than ever. Well, Jonathan, maybe we can hear a word from you as we're about to begin about why you have invited each of these reciters.
Well, Scarlett is an illuminator and Jon is a unifier, and they're both people who have utilized the technology of this moment to bring meaningful, inspirational people to forums and to direct people to their highest nature. And I say the same thing about you, Ben. There's, if we had 100 more of you guys, the world would be a much, much, much different place. Ben has been likewise a unifier and an illuminator, consistently creating forum for people. Lili, I have to say, Lili and Lili's band Opium Moon, and I recommend everybody watch the YouTube of when they won the Grammy. It's inspiring. But Lili is an artist of the heart. Full stop. All of her music starts from and resonates in the heart, and she's maintained integrity in Hollywood. We also have Sadhviji Saraswati is going to be coming in from Rishikesh. She has a book that's a fantastic book called Hollywood to the Himalayas, of her spiritual journey, seeking the highest liberation of the soul. And she's a guru in her own standing, and also has a PhD in, I think, neurobiology from Stanford University. Highly accomplished intellectual and spiritual mastery. So, I mean, this is really an honor to have such people giving voice to these words, and thank you, my brothers and sisters, for honoring the source of these words.
And so we begin. It is my honor to begin with the first poem, Forever One. There is a note so pure, no one can hear it. Its rhythm beats hearts into life. Its melody causes galaxies to dance and mountains to bow into valleys. It calls us to be deeply silent, so to fill us with beauty. The ear of the heart comes into existence through its resonance. Here once, forever one. All of creation is called into this great symphonic dance, singing hallelujahs to the heavens. Thank you, brother, for this magnificent beginning for us today, forever one. And I shall pass the fire-lit torch to my sister Scarlett.
Thank you, Ben. I will be reading Reflect. There can be no creation without grace. Without wisdom, this truth is hidden from the senses, mind, and intellect. Without love, wisdom remains hidden. Although grace is sufficient when understood, that understanding rests on love. This secret remains secret when only told. It is revealed when lived. I will pass the baton to Lili.
Going to start with some music, and then I'll read on top of the music. Going home. There are places the senses cannot go, where the mind can. There are places the mind cannot go, where the intellect can. There are places the intellect cannot go, where wisdom can. There are places wisdom cannot go, where grace can. There are places grace cannot go, where love can. Where love alone can take us home. Let's all go home. Let's all go home. I will pass the torch to Jon.
Remember this too. God wants to know. Where are you, Adam? We want to know. Knowing is the response to God's call. Where are you, Adam? Jesus reminds us, here, inside love, knowing is fulfillment, the hidden treasure of divine presence, longing to know itself. Wake up, heart. The awakening of the heart startles beauty into manifesting through Adam, through us. Where are you, Adam? Knowing is here, inside realization through us. Grace is placed inside realization through us. Compassion is inside realization through us. Love is inside realization through us. Here, my beloved, I am right here. Beautiful, beautiful, Jonathan. When the heart awakens, beauty responds. When we say, here I am, fully, vulnerably, truly, we become the answer to the longing within all life. So I ask gently, where are you now? What wants to be realized through you? Simply notice. Back to you, Brother Ben.
Thank you, John. Let's go now to the banks of the Mother Ganga and listen to our beloved Sadhviji Saraswati.
What a joy to share our beloved Jonathan Granoff's poems with you. His poems show us what happens when the heart and the mind are so in alignment with the divine. Then poetry just flows. When we open ourselves to that presence of the divine, whether it's art, whether it's music, whether it's poetry, it'll flow through us. So today I'm sharing this beautiful poem called With Gratitude to the One. Only when the wave knows that it cannot leave the ocean does it bow down and realize its true dimensions. Only when the seed falls away into the earth does the flower arise. Only when it absorbs does the fire burn. Only when the air connects with something does it become known. Only when the water flows does it clean. Only when the door opens can one walk through into the openness. Only when the I becomes we do we see clearly. This poem encapsulates so many of the core teachings of the Vedas, of this incredible spiritual tradition. When we identify as the wave, we're stuck. We're stuck in the drama. We go up, we go down. When we go up, we're happy. When we go down, we're sad. But we're not the wave. We're the ocean. And that shift in awareness from being the wave to being the ocean is the freedom from being stuck to being free. It's the shift from suffering to the end of suffering. It's the shift from ignorance to wisdom. When the seed allows itself to crack, only then does it actually sprout and blossom and become the tree. If we want the flowers of us, our dharma, our offerings to the world, our gifts, our blossoming, if we want that to happen, we have to be prepared to crack. It's one of the corest, most powerful teachings of life purpose, of success, of embracing your dharma. If we are stuck and we're contracted and we're afraid, we'll never be able to sprout. We'll never blossom. And if we never sprout, then whether our dharma is to be a flower, a rose, a jasmine that gives fragrance, or whether our dharma is to become the apple tree that gives apples, we may never know. And we don't have to know in advance. It's not that we come onto this earth with something stamped on our rear ends that tells us what our dharma is. Spiritual practice is that trust fall into the universe that tells us, allow yourself to crack. The universe knows what you're going to become. And only when we surrender into the earth with the faith that the soil of the earth is going to nourish us, nurture us, and allow us to grow. When the I becomes we. And it's so beautiful because in this poem, I mean, there's so much to say about this poem, but just in a few minutes, the way he's written it is when the I, this I, EYE, I. But of course, the deeper meaning is the I, that capital I with which we identify, that core of ignorance. When that I becomes we, then illness becomes wellness. If you look at the words illness and wellness and you take away the I of illness and you substitute it for we, illness becomes wellness. All of that in which we are suffering, personally, in our mental health issues, in our families, in our communities, in our nations, these divisions on the basis of race or religion or color or sexual orientation or nationality. When we realize that this I, me, mine, that ego is the source of not only all ignorance, but all pain and all suffering, and we allow that I to become we, then yeah, we can see clearly. And it's so beautiful because we speak in the Sanatana Dharma tradition of this third eye. Not only these two eyes, because these two eyes see form, they see container. But this third eye, the divine eye, actually sees content, it sees essence. And so the reason that we actually wear this tilak, that we focus in our meditation on the third eye, is it's that eye that actually allows us to see. These eyes just see shape and movement and color and size and all of that. But this eye sees the divine. This is the eye that shows us you are not the body. You are not the color. You are not the race or the religion or the bank account or the story. You are not separate. There's no place I end and you begin. There's no place the divine ends and I begin. There is nothing but oneness. And so we meditate on this eye to actually allow us to see clearly. Jonathan, we could talk about your poems all day, all month, all year, but just in a few minutes, thank you so much for this beautiful opportunity to read, to share, to be together, and to dive into the ocean of love and truth that is you and that you channel through this beautiful poetry. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Thank you, Sadhviji. Now let's go return to Scarlett.
Remember Day. Each soul's birth is surely a mystery, an immaculate emanation of perfection without reliance on form, awakening, aligning, and filling form with life, learning, and realization. Each soul's birth is grace, placed in perishable and frail form. A yes to the divine journey in time. Each soul's birth demonstrates the presence of the divine longing to know itself. Each soul's day is sacred and fresh. Christ, whose birthday reminds us of this mystery, born in the worst conditions, filth, insects, feces, urine, animals, cold, damp, and on the run. Still, the light shines without impediment. Christ, whose birth deserves attention, reminds us of good news. Through love, we are brought here to learn. Does his story say it will be easy, clean, and always clear? Does his story say we will attain peace? Yes. And again and again and again. Yes. And with that good news, that affirmation, that praise of gratitude, beauty realizes manifestation through the awakening of the heart. Love obtains realization through us. We obtain realization through love. Compassion obtains realization through us. We obtain realization through compassion. God expresses knowing through us. Knowing is the response to God's call. Where are you, Adam? Here, here, my beloved. Knowing is the fulfillment of the purpose, the hidden treasure coming to be known. It's so beautiful. And I would love to pass the torch back to Lili.
The great web. The hand of generosity that spirals upwards in the singing branches of the spruce, the oak, the aspen, the pine. The pulsing life in our veins, breathing through us, breathing us. Unbounded generosity in this moment of life. The prophet says that if we take one step toward God, he takes 10 steps toward us. In acts of love, in acts of compassion, in acts of comfort. That love liberates the heart. That compassion melts the heart. That grace comforts the heart. And this is such a hidden secret that all the talking reveals no more than the place from which it is heard loudest. Deeply awakened, silent, and peace. May this be ours, fully. I will pass the torch to Jonathan.
Discover many blessings for many days. For each of us, for each moment, staying awake, accept this blessing. Accept this sharing. Accept this. May your health glow with energy and vigor. May you have many opportunities to express your joy and celebrate life. May your cups overflow with wealth and the wealth of generosity. May you have many ways to express your gifts, reflect God's generosity to you, and thus be witnesses to the infinite goodness of the Creator. May your senses be delighted, your intellects clear, your judgment balanced, and your wisdom illuminated. May your friends be true and share joy and sorrow with you. May all our families be united as a foundation to realizing unity with all peoples, families, and individuals. May your sense of human unity bring you to a deeper appreciation for the infinite web of life. May your deep appreciation fill your hearts with gratitude and grace. May you discover the mystery of emptiness wherein plenitude is discovered. May your hearts become resonant with God's infinite blessings of love, compassion, peace, and open wonder. With the willingness to accept God's blessings, life is a garden. You become a place where the seeds of God's intentions for you can find expression and manifest happiness in many, many ways. May these blessings of happiness fill your days for many years. Having witnessed a man who accepted God's blessings, we know the majesty of that surrender. We lack words to express sufficient gratitude for the kindness and grace of a man who called himself the Ant-Man, the smallest of the small, the least amongst us, that I knew as Guru Baba Mahayadin, who said, if you love all lives as your own, you will come to gain the wisdom to know yourself, and if you know yourself, you will know the infinite. The presence of grace can then be wherever we are. It is open space. And in this way, in the open space, may you surrender to the one, the ruler of grace, limitless love, the secret of the soul, known by many names, God, Allah, the beloved of all, the unnameable, the infinite, the beloved of all, and therein be full and complete, and know many blessings for many days. I want to just share an apocryphal story. There's a great Turkish poet who's the most popular poet in the world right now, Jalaluddin Rumi. He's the most popular poet in Iran and the United States, interestingly. And there's another great poet from Turkey named Yunus Emre. Yunus Emre. And the story is, it's a story, it's a wisdom story. The two of them meet. And Rumi says to Yunus Emre, "Who are you?" And he says, "They took infinity and they wrapped it in some bones and skin. And this season they're calling it Yunus." And Rumi said, "Oh my, you've said everything so quickly. I met someone who treated everyone as this treasury of the infinite presence of God. And Jesus told us if we want to get straight, to love this mystery with all our heart, all our soul, and all our might, and like unto that, love our neighbor as ourself. We have to strive to be the witnesses of this truth. This is our responsibility, because we know that it's true, that there's no comparable fulfillment. One taste of the grace of that purity of intention brings so many blessings. May we taste that many blessings for many days. Ben, please.
Magnificent. Hamid Mujahideen. Jonathan Granoff, what a treasury of grace, as you say, to share with the world and to share with us and through us these profound transformational poems, this poetry that you are bringing through at this time, and so uplifting, so illuminating, Jonathan. Congratulations and deep bows to you for this aspect of yourself, your many-sided self. That you're bringing through here. It's been a great joy. We have one poem left, which is Love in Action. And how perfect to finish with Love in Action, brother Jonathan. How would you like to recite this one, and then maybe we'll have closing comments from Lili and Scarlett and Jon.
Why don't you read it, Ben? I've said enough. Go ahead, you do it. It'll bookend everything.
Love in action. The heart without the hand withers. The hand without the heart is dangerous. When love is brought into action, salt transforms into sugar. Tears of deep disappointment, fear, and insecurity into tears of sweet joy, peace, and gratitude, and the honor of serving, the wonder of life.
The Buddha's first truth that he shared with the world is that the world is affliction. We all suffer old age, sickness, and death. If we're lucky, we may not get old age, but we'll all get sickness and death in some way. We'll get betrayal. We'll get disappointment. When we get the things that we wanted, they're never as good as we thought they would be. And we don't get what we want, we're frustrated. But he says there's a way out. He says there's a way of fulfillment. And it's found in the power inherent in compassion. And the power inherent in compassion is wisdom to know who you are. Without that quality of compassion and love and kindness, this secret of who we are is hidden. What is this wisdom he's talking about? Well, wisdom is the capacity of consciousness to know the difference between the qualities that bind us to suffering: anger, pride, falsehood, jealousy, envy, hastiness, selfishness, greed. Because all of these qualities reaffirm the illusion of being separate. And wisdom can identify within ourselves the qualities that bring us together with one another and open up the capacity for grace to guide us. Love, compassion, patience, tolerance. Patience is so important. Generosity, humility. These are secret. They're not performative. They're the qualities within us. And then there's another level of wisdom that not only finds the qualities, but finds their source. So the Prophet Muhammad said, the one who knows himself or knows herself will know God, will know the Lord. And that is not only having wisdom to find the qualities, but to have the wisdom to find the source within oneself. And in this time of enormous challenge in the world, where ignorance is guiding so many policies, greed in our relationship to the natural world, wars between nations, prejudice, pride, vanity, the value of human beings who can exemplify these transcendent qualities is immeasurable. Immeasurable. And the world metrics for evaluation can't measure them. In fact, if you look at some of the great people who've created the blessings of civilization that we live within, Socrates, 500 of his countrymen condemned him to death. Jesus, forgive them, Father, they know not what they do. So many examples of the most accomplished human beings. Or the civil rights movement in America, guided by God's love that guided Martin Luther King, who met violence with peacefulness. From the metrics of the world, this is not a success. But from the metrics of reality, these are the Himalayas of human achievement. We are the people who have to strive for that achievement. May we be open. May we be open to the fact that if we are open, the blessing will come. The blessing is like the wind on the ocean. It's always there. It comes, it goes, but it comes. But it won't be known unless the sails are unfurled. May the sails of our hearts be totally unfurled so the winds of grace can take us home together. Thank you, Ben, for bringing us together.
Amen. Amen, brother. And let's hear a final word from everyone as we close today. Thank you, Jonathan, for this. You brought in Eunice Emre, and Eunice Emre famously exhorted us to love the creature for the sake of the creator. And that's really what I get from your poetry. It's the touching the source that you mentioned. We might add to that love creation for the sake of the creator, as well as all of creatures. Thank you, Jonathan. This is a profound gift. Lili, what arises within you in this expression of our brother's poetry today?
Just gratitude. These do feel like end times in a way, and it's always a rebirth and ending, and we're always in the process of dying and being reborn if we're paying attention. But if this were the end, I would be very happy to be right here. Like, the, with you, they would be perfect. I hope it's not, but these are, we. My mom, the brilliant comedian and philosopher Lotus Weinstock, used to say, the Bible says, love your neighbors, you love yourself. But if you don't like yourself, your neighbor's in trouble.
That's right. That's a lot of truth to that.
And I've realized that, just to speak to the heart of compassion, that really is the only place I feel safe. The eyes of compassion. That is the soul of all the wisdoms that exist. Every discipline ultimately is to see through the eyes of compassion. And I loved, we were talking the other day, Jonathan, about the question you posed to the Dalai Lama. The singularity of the perspective of seeing ourselves. Can you just remind?
Sure.
Can you share with everyone?
Okay. So there was a summit of the Nobel Peace Prize winners in Rome. And we were in a beautiful dining hall overlooking the forum in the Campidoglio, where the legislative body of the country gathers. And I was sitting with His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and we both had glasses on. And I said, our eyes look through our glasses. There's a witness that looks through our mind. Last night, when I was dreaming, I was watching the dream, and then the alarm clock went off, and the witness said, "Oh, now you're in the world." But the witness was in both dimensions. It was witnessing the perceptions of the mind, and then it's witnessing the perceptions of the senses. So my question, Your Holiness, is the witness looking through you the same as the witness looking through me? Or are we all separate witnesses? Is there one overarching unity of consciousness and being watching through us? Are we intersubjectively one? And he said, well, there's many discussions about this in Buddhism. And I said, really, I was a religion major for a while in college. I've read the books, but I'm interested in your experience about this. And then he said, that is the most important question. And there used to be this commercial on television of a financial advisor, E.F. Hutton, and E.F. Hutton says, and everybody would be quiet. Somehow, when the room had Mikhail Gorbachev, Willem de Klerk, Lech Walesa, Wangari Maathai, all of these incredible Nobel Peace Laureates, and the place went silent because the Dalai Lama said, that's the most important question, the mystery of our individuality and our unity. Everyone was quiet. Now, of course, I was just prodding him to talk about the wonder of our interconnectedness, because he obviously lives lives exemplifying that unity in his actions and in his ethics and his compassion and love. But just before he could express that, one of the monks came over and said, "Your Holiness, there's a photo shoot that's been planned in the next room and they can't wait any longer. You have to go." And he got up and looked at me. Oh, I can't describe the look. It was like, oh, like it was full of compassion and love and frustration at the same time. I like sort of like, I want to be here, but I can't. And I said, even for you, the ugly head of karma is raised. In other words, he had his commitments to the world, and he wanted to talk about the divine mystery, but he had to go to the photo shoot. It has such a ring of sweetness and pathos in it, and he was so loving in the way that he responded.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that story. Lili, final word?
What I would like to just say is when so my mom passed away of a brain tumor, so I did a lot of research around the brain, and I learned that when fear is ignited and the amygdala is activated, it literally hijacks the energy from the rest of the brain, robbing us of our powers of empathy, nuance, the subtleties, and actually the ability to really be present for love in a way. So talking to people who are in fear with logic and confrontation and any of the things that feel like our righteous indignation in a way, like the righteousness of wanting to face the what we perceive as something that's wrong, with anything other than love and listening and an open heart and through the eyes of compassion is completely futile. There's no way to, it's literally biologically impossible to have a resolution with anything other than love and compassion and listening and understanding. And so just to know that science backs up the aphorism that there's no problem in the world for which more love and understanding is not the answer.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
And whenever I feel like I'm at a crossroads and or on the precipice of really feeling just without a center, I've managed to find my way back to Jonathan, and he always says something like one of these insights that really helps me. It's like a spiritual parachute, and I end up back in the ocean with a soft landing. So thank you.
Amazing. Thank you, Lili. Thank you for sharing all that, and thank you for bringing your light and wisdom here to this circle today. Magnificent. Jon Ramer, let's hear what's arising in you.
Well, I sure would love to know what the Dalai Lama had to say about that question.
I could tell you. I could tell you other conversations I had where he did have something to say about it. Where he did, and I'll do that after you finish sharing what you want to share, and then I'll tell you what he said.
Well, I thought that last poem that we read said it all. I thought the way you came in and the way you came out. And that's what I'd like to say. Love in action and the honor of serving the wonder of life. That says it all.
So I had a discussion with him about shunyata, which is the doctrine of emptiness in Buddhism. That's the idea of a separate self.
That's my cat's name, and she's right here.
No surprise about that. So the idea of a separate self is somewhat fallacious. And so I asked him, well, what's this business about your being born 14 times? If that's not what if you are literally one with it. And he hit my hand, and we went off by ourselves, and he was very animated discussion. And some monks came over because they were worried we were arguing because it was so much energy. But the point was he didn't say, "Oh, I'm this and you're just this guy." And there was no ego at all. There's no ego in people with wisdom. He said, "It's in the emptiness that the plenitude and the interconnectedness and the fullness is realized." He went right to the experience in Sufism, or it's called fana, the extinction of the illusion of being separate from one another, separate from creation, separate from God. Or in the Hindu tradition, thou Om Tat Sat, thou art that. There's no division. It's an experience that can't be described sufficiently. Any description, as in the Taoism, the Tao Te Ching begins, the Tao that can be described cannot be the Tao, because it's not a noun or a verb. All verbs and nouns come from it. And it is everything is co-arising and sustained by this mystery. And the experience of it is, first, you experience the suffering of others as your own, and the joy of others as your own. But because it's so wondrous, it's blissful. It's extremely blissful. If the teaching was, experience the joy of others for yourself, that's all people would do. But every verse of Quran begins in the name of God, which is compassion and mercy, or that is compassion and mercy. And if we pursue compassion, we learn this other secret, which is that success of others becomes a success that we feel. Not jealousy, but celebrating their success. I mean, John, when so many people that you're connected to succeed in something, you have a piece of that. Your joy is so huge because of your generosity. So the prophet said, if we take one step toward God, God takes 10 toward us. And that's what it means. But I know that in this time, there was a wise man, Dada Vaswani, who was a wise man in India, passed away at 100 years old a few years ago, said, in these times, God's taking 100 steps. Right. In other words, if we make the space for grace, grace will fill us. And we make the space for grace by exercising those qualities because they diminish the illusion of separation. That's what love does. That's what compassion does. It brings us together. And John, you are, as you would even describe yourself correctly, as a unifier. Your life is devoted to separating from us that which separates us, and amplifying that which reminds us that we are together. Mm. And I bow to your service like I bow to Lili's commitment to the music of the heart, and Scarlett's commitment to massively getting people to just be still and know. So I will hand it over to Scarlett now.
Oh, wow. What an absolute honor it is to be here in this space with all of you, and Jonathan with you. Your poetry is, of course, deep and thoughtful and evokes all kinds of emotion because it rings in parts of us that know that these things are true. But also, I know you in the world, and the way that you carry this kind of sacred responsibility for humanity coming into right relationship, like with ourselves, with one another, with the world around us. And, you do it in your organization, you do it in the way that you live, you do it in your own relationships, your presence and your words, and you're consistent and you're devoted. And I think all of that really comes through in this poetry. It's very present. It's all of those things that you are. And I think that, when we all got an opportunity to read these, and when other people get to read them and hear them, what a gift, because for the sacred witness, not just the sacred witness behind your eyes, the sacred witness of all these eyes and of the cosmos and the very unity that we're talking about. So this just feels like a deeply magical moment. Thank you, friend.
Beautifully shared, beautifully said, Scarlett. And that brings our circle to its next moment. No ending, only beginning. Thanks to you, Jonathan Granoff. Thank you, Scarlett. Thank you, Jon Ramer. Thank you, Lili. Thank you, Sadhviji. Thank you, Sunyata the cat, and His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and Eunice Emre, and everyone, all the extended beings of life that have been here with us, exploring and experiencing this blessed moment. Thank you, Jonathan.
Two things. One is, when the golden rule was stated, whether it was by Buddha, Muhammad, Confucius, Jesus, Hillel, it was always about the people you were living with, because we couldn't melt the polar ice cap. We didn't have nuclear weapons. We couldn't destroy the health of the oceans and the phytoplankton, which is 50% of our oxygen. But we are doing that now. So we need a golden rule for the 21st century. Treat the lives and well-being of future generations as we want to be treated. Because now humanity has a responsibility that it didn't have. And the way to do that is to treat those that you're alive with as you want to be treated. That's the way to take care of future generations. So nations, this principle needs to be far and wide. Nations must treat other nations as they want to be treated. Because when this moral principle is exercised, stability in your own life takes place, stability in your family and in your country and in your psychology takes place. When it's violated, chaos comes. But it has to come to stimulate that in people. People who are listening to this are deeper. They're deeper than just the ethical principle. They want to know its source. And here is what the Sufi Saint Baba Muhaiyaddin said about finding the source. And this should be clear. O humanity, you think you can know all things solely by your investigation. There is, however, a truth that governs such knowing. That truth is this: the state of silence will be invaluable to you. Let the form of divine luminous wisdom grow from this inner silence. See yourself as the consciousness within the form of divine luminous wisdom. It will appear as one. That form is that, and that is you. That state is one. It is that which is the all-pervading radiant effulgence. And that is what we are finding.